Hello, this is Stampy Longnose, and welcome to another look at one of my forged mazes. This is what I count as maze number 1. That's what it's named as. This is the first one that I built by myself. It's also the first one in Sandbox. This is quite soon after the DLC. I think it was the Legendary? No, I don't think it was. It was a DLC and it had Sandbox, which kind of really opened up all the possibilities for what you can do in Forge. It basically added a level editor into the game. And so this is when I got serious about not serious, I got more into building mazes. And so as you can see, it looks a lot nicer than the other one. It's still a bit messily built, but that's kind of just how it was in Halo 3, unless you spent a ridiculous amount of time in it. And this is I kind of started getting a bit more inventive now. Rather than just putting in the necessity for the puzzles, I kind of started adding distractions and like red herrings. I mean, if you're playing a game like Monkey Island, they won't just have the objects that you need to solve the puzzle. They have other objects and other things, and you've got to decide, what will I use? And so if I just had a room where I had a button and a box, got to put the box and the button. But if I had 3 different buttons doing different things and a box and a cat, and then you have to try and work out what to do. So this whole section is for people struggling. They're going to be trying to get up to the top here. It kind of looks like you might be able to get out. They're going to be jumping on the mongooses, going over these man cannons and that. But basically, this is all just one big distraction here at the beginning. Because all you're simply going to do is you've got to go over this man cannon, and there's just a turret gun in the wall. So like if you watch the last video, as I said, it will start off just saying there's a turret gun in the wall. And now this is kind of a more inventive implementation of the turret gun being in a wall. And that is not a mistake. That is, you can get up there, but you just can't do anything there. And that's kind of a way where you can sort of see where you're trying to get to. See, there's the turret gun and there's the teleporter. So this is kind of a natural way for people to work out. God, if I can stop banging. I hope I don't get stuck in one of my own mazes. That would be pretty embarrassing. See if I can actually... Oh, rubbish. This map's awful, I hate it. See if I can actually try and grab on it. Keep banging on a wall somewhere. There we go. It's actually quite awkward, because if you go too far to the right, you knock off a wall. If you don't go right enough, then you simply miss it, like I did there. I think I actually saw the indication to grab it every time when I wasn't trying to. Now I'm trying to, I can't. I tried just going straight over. There we go. Then you get off the turret, you automatically get put into it. And into a blue room, I also had the ability to add some lights, which kind of just makes areas look different to one on each other. And you can see there's a fusion coil down there. If I blow that up, they'll keep spawning and dropping down from there. And basically this is, if you drop down, I think you pick something up. Ah, no, that was it. You've got to destroy the pallet, and then a grav lift comes out. Then the trouble is now... is they're in this box, they can't get out. To get out of this area, you've got to use the grav lift to get out, and you've now lost the grav lift. And you actually need it to get you up out that gap there. So you need to find a way of getting outside the area without using a grav lift somehow. And get another grav lift, should spawn soon. I don't know, can you work out how to do it yet before I solve it? This is a good example of a map which wouldn't work very well co-op, simply because if there was 2 people, I could jump on someone's head, then I'd be able to get up with the grav lift as well. So you want to be careful with that if you are planning to build your own maps. And you can actually die in this bit. It does happen if you get hit by enough fusion coils. There we go, here's one. And yeah, basically what you've got to do... Is there a fusion coil down here? There is. I haven't actually got sound on at the moment, so I can't hear them blow up. Gonna jump up there, throw down the grav lift, and then get through. I know this is an area which took quite a while to build. It's basically all these teleporters send you to a different area. There is a way you can kind of cheat it. If you jump and get some momentum, you can kind of... Oh, I did it wrong, but you can kind of just fly through over out of them all. But it's basically a trial and error. You go through, no, I want to go to the one to the right. And that takes me a little bit further. Go to the one on the right. Go to the one on the left. No. I don't actually remember the order for this bit. Actually, I think this one you've got to go to this one now. I remember there's a few times you've got to like just go directly to the left and stuff. Yeah, and this is a the last bit, you go through here, you're like, right, this teleporter or this teleporter. You actually got to go back through the one you came through. And then, yeah, then you fly over. That's one that gets people quite stuck on again. Right, and this is another good tactic. It's basically, I want to get to the other side of this teleporter. But every time I go through, it teleports me. So the challenge is to block that teleporter so I can walk through it. And that's basically another setup for a puzzle. It isn't a puzzle in itself, really. It's just, you can use the idea of how can you block a teleporter as just a way of, like, restricting people. And it's quite a simple one. Basically, you've got to look up, there's a golf ball up here, and then the golf ball drops down. And that might seem completely simple, but that's when I often actually end up having to tell people how to do that. Because people don't look like looking up in video games. I mean, it's all the time. You hear Valve talking about it in their developer commentaries about how you got to really push players to look up, either have a character say, hey, look over there, or you've got to have, even they've had like light is a good way to make people look up. If you have a light on the ceiling, they might look up. And they've even on a Portal, the patterns in the wall are sort of large at the bottom, then if they get smaller to the top, it kind of draws people's eyes up. So there's a few tactics, but you can't really do that in Forge. It's kind of, it'll kind of ruin the puzzle if you tell them a bit too easily. And for this section, I'm basically trying to get on this roof. In all of my puzzles from this puzzle onwards, I always have a sniper section where you've got to snipe something. And this is a very simple, basic one. I've got to knock this top barrier thing off. And then that will land on the man cannon, fly over, and then I can get up to the top. I've actually got a moment where I got splattered when this happened to me. I think I was already up and I was standing on that wall and my friend did it. And yeah, I got splattered right in the face. And this is quite risky because it doesn't always land in the exact right place. So sometimes you have to just wait for it to respawn to do it again. Although I think I should be alright if I crouch jump up on this one. I can't even get onto the thing. Come on. Yeah, easy. And this is the area from the teleporter section. You know, and I was saying there's a choice of 2 different teleporters. So a lot of people think, oh, and they just jump straight down, forgetting that they've already been here, and that will take them back there. That's another thing that I've kind of avoided in future puzzles. And like, if I'm playing with people, I do kind of say, yeah, just don't jump down there, it will annoy you. You have to do it again. And this is quite simple, and it's just basic platforming. But if you see that ledge is slightly further out, so you've got to manage to try and jump on here. And you've got to walk around this wall. A lot of people immediately just jump straight down without looking, and you've actually got to get inside that magical glowing box. That's quite a good example of how I'm using light to draw people's eye to it. So that's where they want to go. And it's quite a difficult jump though. No. And there's actually, yeah, I've used a light in there also. It blocks the grav lift. Well, it doesn't block it, it makes it so you can't see it very well. And so a lot of people jump in the box and fly immediately back out, which is mighty annoying. This next section is a platforming section. There's normally a platforming section in all of them. It's basically a break from puzzles. It's obvious what you've got to do, it's just difficult to do it. So don't be surprised if I take a few attempts. And this is another bit where if people get annoyed, I'll just stand at the end and let them jump on my head, and then have to do it by myself again. Let's see if I can do it in under 5 tries. It looks really easy, but let me assure you it's not. It's kind of built so you just don't have to jump like your minimum and you don't jump your max. You've got to kind of control yourself when you're mid-air, and it is pretty difficult to do. And this is another reason why you want to be careful with your game types. So say, for example, if I forgot to make it so you didn't have grenades, you'd be able to grenade jump up. There's a lot of, and sometimes you want to slightly adjust your movement speed if there's some big sections, or you want to change a few stuff. So do spend some time thinking about what your game type will be before you start building the map, if you are planning to build some maps. Come on, there we go. And now this is basically the ascent towards the end of the map, I believe. This is just, once again, this is kind of like the reward from after solving the puzzles, as it is quite a frustrating one. This is basically just some fun climbing. People just enjoy climbing up stuff like this. Oh, that's where I'm supposed to go, yep. And this is actually, you know the bit earlier on with the golf ball you had to drop down? I didn't plan it, but I kind of incorporated it into this section. You've got to kind of jump in that area. It's quite good if you manage to reuse the same areas, or like use the same objects but you're from a different perspective. Just have everything a little bit more connected rather than just random sections. And if you don't know how to pile things up and make them float, you basically got to literally build a pile of objects, and then if you delete the bottom ones and the ones at top do still float there. As only in Halo 3. In Halo Reach you can set it so the physics are fixed, so they just literally stay. And simply got to keep chucking a load of grav lifts up here. Oh, someone gets stuck. And then you can fly all the way up to the top of Sandbox. That might be a bit better for this. Oh, I seem to have lost my grav lifts. Let's see if I've got enough to go up. Ah, they're all getting knocked up. Yes, I've basically got to keep spamming the X button until I eventually reach the top. And I think that's the end of the maze. I don't think there's any puzzles after this. Come on. This is another bit of just kind of a reward section. It's kind of easy, but it's just quite fun. Yeah, and I'm out. And if you didn't land outside, there's just a little gun turret you got to get out. And this is an example, as I said in my first video, of one of my first fun rooms. It's basically just random objects, just so if someone finishes the maze first, or a couple people, they can just play around here hitting the golf ball or having some races and mongooses and stuff. Anyway, that brings me to the end of this video. If you want to watch my second maze that I built in Sandbox, click the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.